Hello, hello, hello. Celeste Cuffy here of Life and Power Consulting Services. I'll give you all a moment just to join. I am here. Hello, hello, hello. Celeste Cuffy here. Please like and share. Please make sure that you share this. Please like this video. Let me know that you're here already, and we will get started in just a few moments. Thank you all so much for joining. Please go ahead and give shout outs. Let me see who's out here with me on today, on this evening. I will not be before you long. As I said, I just have a quick tip for you that I want to offer this evening. But again, I want to give folks a few moments to join in with me as I share this entrepreneurship tip. So go ahead again, please click like or share, invite a friend, invite a bunch. I think that this is going to be valuable information and you all will need it. You will need it as we are going through our process of being the best us. This information will be invaluable. On Facebook, I actually, um, my setup on my home computer is a little bit different, so it just looks weird and I can't, I haven't spent any time trying to figure out how it actually works. I just wanted to make sure that I got this information out to you. Hey, Kendrick, thank you so much for joining on this evening. It is 8:00. It is 8:04. Excuse me. We're going to do one more minute and then we will go ahead and get started. And guess what? It will not take me long. I try to be very efficient with my time as well as yours. So just a moment. And it is just hit 8:05. And so let's go ahead and begin. Thank you again so much for joining. My name is Celeste Cuffy from Life and Power Consulting Services, where our mission is to reach, empower, and motivate others to access and utilize their God given, their natural, their inherent talents and skills, building better families, companies, and communities worldwide. I appreciate you for taking time out of your schedule, out of your evening to spend these few moments with me. While I have you here, let me just go ahead and say October 10th. That is a Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 11. I am hosting my fourth annual Entrepreneur in You conference. You do not want to miss it. Feel free, please go to my website, www.celestecuffy.com. You will see EIY Conference 2020 so that you can see who the presenters are. It's going to be an amazing conference and it is virtual. Because it is virtual, we are doing something a little bit differently. I'm offering a little bit more in terms of content that you'll have access to just for registering and attending. And guess what? The conference is only $25. It's such a small investment for what you're going to get out of the event. The theme this year is the power of connection. Now, speaking of connection, one of the things that I've been saying that I wanted to do, that I was going to offer as a precursor to the event, is tips on entrepreneurship. And so last week I offered my first tip, and that tip was simply this: that entrepreneurship is a behavior or a mindset, it is not a job status. So I'm going to say that again. My first tip, and a tip to live by the way, is that entrepreneurship it is not a job status. It is a mindset, it is a behavior. When you think about what you have to do, whether you work for yourself or whether you work for a company, you have to get your mind into place to be the CEO and the leader of your own life. Entrepreneurship is not, I will say it again, it is not a job status. It is a behavior. It is a mindset. So that was tip number one for last week. Hey, Nikki. Hey, Pam. Yay, good to see you. So that was my first tip last week. The second tip that I want to offer you this week is this. No one has achieved success alone. So many times we hear people say that I've done this by myself. If you are at any level of success, you did not do it alone. You, at the very minimum, have to have customers. At the very minimum, you have to have clients. At the very minimum, you are providing a service or a product for someone else to purchase, for someone else to buy. So, no, you didn't get there alone. None of us as entrepreneurs will get there alone. And it's important that we know that. Again, I was referencing the Entrepreneur in You conference, and the theme this year is the power of connection. And did you know that 70%, yes, I said it three times because I want to make sure that we get it. 70% of people found a job through connections in a company. Through connections, 70%. So 7 out of every 10 people that has a job was able to acquire that opportunity through a connection within that company. Now, I'm an entrepreneur, so let me be the first to say that I have been able to service clients. I have been able to get large corporate clients through relationships with people, through connections. Somebody knew me, I knew somebody, and they created the opportunity for me. Now, they opened the door for the opportunity, but I had to do the work. I had to show up. I had to represent. One of the things that I talk about quite a bit is legacy. And legacy not in being what you leave when you pass away, but what do you leave when you walk out the room? What kind of experience have you left? What did you give people to say about you? What kind of impression did you make? What kind of branding did you set up for yourself based on that interaction that that individual or that team or that department had with you? Do they look forward to seeing you coming, or do they loathe seeing you come? Because guess what? No one achieves success alone. And I say that, and I talk about the 70% of people who found the job through connections in a company, but think about 85% of positions are filled through networking. 85% of positions are filled through networking. So those of us who say that we don't like to network, okay. But let me tell you something about connections. Let me tell you something about relationships. That is how we get things done. People do business with who they know, like, and trust. And guess what? That isn't only for the entrepreneur in terms of running your own company. It's also in terms of the entrepreneur that has to work in a department, in a team for a large organization. Do they look forward to seeing you come or not? And so again, I wanted you to know today that no one has achieved success alone. Now, what does that mean? That means that not only are people conduits for us, but we should also be conduits for others. And how do we do that? First thing that we need to do is we need to create a path, which means that we have built a relationship, a worthy relationship. They trust, they know, they like you. And now from that relationship, you can bring someone else in and help create that opportunity for them. So you are doing what? You are creating a path. And then you're advocating. Again, what are you giving people to say about you? So how can you say something positive about that person, but what have they given you to say? Can you comfortably and confidently advocate for them? Now, this one could be a little bit easier if you work for another organization and there are people that you can vouch for because of their work ethic, because of the relationship. But advocating is advocating. And so, can you create that path? Can you advocate? Can you have a relationship And when I say relationship, I don't mean, again, just somebody that you see, but would you put your name on the line for that person? Because it's all about relationships, it's all about connections. Do you understand what their strengths are? Have you gotten to know them? Do you understand what their challenges are? Do you understand what they need to be successful? And how can you use that relationship to help them be their best as you're becoming your best? And then the last thing is just to empower. That is to trust them, to give them the tools that they need, and then trust them to walk out and to do it. So, not only do I want you to know tonight that no one achieves success alone, I don't, you don't, none of us do, but we also have the responsibility to care enough for others that we can create a path for them, that we can advocate for them, that we can build a strong enough relationship and empower them so that they too can succeed and be their best. So that is it for this evening. I told you I wasn't going to take a lot of time. Again, get your tickets for the EIY conference, www.celestecoffee.com. Tip number one, tip number one was that entrepreneurship is a mindset. It is a behavior, not a job status. And tip number two that I offer tonight is that no one achieves success alone. And I guess I gave you a third tip or some activities and action item in terms of how to assume the responsibility to help someone else along the way, which is creating that path, which is advocating, which is building that relationship and then empowering them. So that is what I have for you all on this evening. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining me. And remember, I'll see you next week with tip number three, and it is a good one. But I will see you next week with tip number three. And remember to live life empowered. Thank you all so much for joining. Take care. Goodbye.